I feel like, you know, that word intimate is just a word that, you know, right when I say intimacy, like all me and a bunch of my friends, we're thinking about sex, you know, but I love how you define it, that we're seeking something from others. So that definition, like right off the bat, would be perfect. Because yeah, you might be thinking of sex, but because it's in that line, within those lines. But you know, like let's say Dan, he's one of my best friends, and I'm like, dude, we were so intimate, you know, like that's something we just don't communicate. At church or anywhere.
This is my intimate brother.
Yeah, but what I see the most is that they do long for a type of intimacy to the point where because of social media, I think the problem I'm seeing the most is that they don't know how to express or just give intimacy or receive it. I see that like once you know you do try to initiate the step to care and love them, be intimate with them, you know, I think their response, it gets kind of weird. I don't know whether social media or whatnot. I was talking to Hui about this, like the students, for some reason I feel like even myself, like we could be so narcissistic, very me-centered, where when intimacy is given to you, it's not you just hug it all in, and you know you put it on your Twitter, and like I feel
so
they don't even use Twitter anymore, you know, like
so it's like it's demanded without
and
risk.
Yeah, and then because they do that, like they strive for that, you know, so it's you know, like I would meet with students, and like, you know, they felt, you know, your love and compassion and before, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, they get really me-centered. I don't know how to say it. Like somewhere along the line, that receiving of intimacy, it gets kind of like they just don't know how to receive it, and they just don't know how to respond.
So it's kind of they're kind of intense and demanding in a way.
Are you talking about entitlement?
It could be entitlement. Maybe it goes into it, but I feel like how they receive intimacy is a little different.
So how does that affect the way they see having an intimate relationship with God?
Yeah, I feel like it's just like your friend who grew up with that dad who's always demanding of stuff. You know, now that students are walking like, hey, you know, I did this today, I did that today. It's like, what's up, man? How are you doing? You know, you know, like they're like bearing everything on their sleeve just for us to get their approval and show intimacy.
Yeah.
I know I'm not under 25, but I experience with my kids. I have a 16 and a 12-year-old, and I think even within a Vietnamese church, I mean, there's different level of intimacy, because like when you say if you spend time with your kids, you know, I think those kids are pretty have a strong relationship with their parents.
Yeah,
you know,
if
so
they're even willing.
different level of, you know. So we model that for them, and then when they mix with the other kids in churches, I think, and they exposed to that, and how for them to communicate with the rest of the group and how to approach intimacy. Because I think my kids are very observant. They see, hey, I don't belong, even though they come from a Christian family.
So at your church, they don't feel like they belong.
Yeah, even at church, they don't sense we belong. And can you imagine they go to outside of school, they feel, because we kind of monitor Facebook and you know text messages, because and one of those parents had a cocktail parents, so they feel more, I think, more pressure.
Yeah.
And I think the peer pressure is very strong for my kids, even though we think that we have, you know, a strong foundation. And especially for my 16-year-old, I want to have high school, and I think now middle school, because the academic pressure is kind of more strong, there's more homework and stuff. And it's funny because my kids discuss about, you know, this shallow, turbulent, and supervision urgent. I think the expectation of school and expectation of, you know, being have Vietnamese parent, that's a pressure on them. And how are they gonna develop intimacy? I don't think they have time, like my high school kids with other activity, they have no time,
Mm.
you know?
Mhm.
So I mean, like,
Mhm.
when they say, Mom, I really want to discipline myself, you know, to have time to spend with God,
Okay.
they don't have it.
Oh, they don't have it. Okay.
So I mean, like, I think that now they develop their own identity. So to crave a time just for God, it's really hard for them because they don't even have time to spending time with their friends.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
where's my kids with their AP testing today?
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
so they have to choose like academic, friends, and then God. So of course, God is always at the end. And
Yeah.
even though when we model for them, oh, you know what, we're just gonna pray for you, but I think for them to have this intimacy, I think they need to have time to have with God.
Right, right.
And I don't know how
Yeah.
to do it
Yeah.
because of course I'm busy myself.
Yeah.
And so I think for them is the time, and for us too, for intimacy with God. And I don't know how for them to crave out the time. Is there a way for them to, you know, hey, this time is just for you and God? And I think it's so hard for them to choose that between
And to see the
homework,
relevance of
you know,
it.
having an excellent, you know, and friends,
Mhm.
you know, and at church activities and stuff. I think it's really hard for them to crave that time.
Yeah.
I think it's time is an issue with
Mm.
intimacy because that's where you develop the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think priority is important because you have to intentionally
Right.
make that time.
Yeah.
So I think those are the kind of issues that need to be addressed with, you know. And I see a lot of young people sitting here, which soon to be parents, and I think this is something that parents have to be intentional because our son, he doesn't have Facebook. He asked for it, but we don't
Yeah.
allow him. Don't tell
Actually,
him.
Facebook is it's okay. Facebook is
No, but
already
he has
3 years ago.
Oh,
So
yeah,
3
he's
years ago.
always- he's
Yeah,
a
Snapchat.
dinosaur.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
like during the time that's really high peak, and he asked for it.
Yeah, it's
And
hard.
we told him no,
Yeah.
and that's because we want that. For us, it's every meal table we sit together, we're done eating, then we read a Bible passage, and then we just go through the Bible, the book of the Bible. Then we kind of he wraps it up by explaining what's going on with that, and then we pray every night. They all take turn to pray. And then at night they do devotion. So in the morning when I drive them to school, they will share what they learned from the devotion, and then I wrap it up with them. I mean, that is something that we put it as a number one priority, and you know, like intentionally, we have to make time for it, so that it doesn't matter how busy we are, but because of their soul, because of their you know, future later on, because they're only going to be with us for 18
Right,
years.
exactly.
That's what how far I plan. After 18, they're going to be gone on their own. So our responsibility is, you know, as parents and also as leaders, when taking care of young people, our responsibility in those years. We have to teach them, we have to do to our best, you know, with our ability. So we do that to them. So for our kids, we check in with them, and then like even at night, he will find time to come in and talk to us. Like sometimes he just want to sit with us and watch the news, or just to be there. And I think that's what we're building as far as intimacy. And he may not do that to everyone that he sees, or my daughter, but I think it depends on the comfort level. Like for us, he's very comfortable, so he can just come in and, you know, talk to us and stuff like that. And our daughter will share with us. But I think it's 16 years of work. But it's not too late. But I want to share that because you all going to be starting families in the future. And so that's something that has to be intentional. As far as our youths coming up at the camp, I know that, you know, the concept, the cultures are different, but the intimacy part is in there. Everyone needs it. So we, in a way, we kind of have to teach them. We teach them that definition and how to go at it, you know, and give them that practice, learn how to do it on their own. So that's a daunting job on our part as leaders. But I think every issue that we brought up is true out there, is relevant. So we just figure out.
To me, when you hear the word intimacy, like Paul was saying, like the kids will see it totally different than what adults mean. But when Susan was talking about spiritual discipline, right, and I think that's the word that really kids or even young
It's
adults,
easier to
it's
relate
hard
to.
to do. Is the
Oh,
discipline.
it's harder to do.
Yeah, the discipline part. And so in the way we tell them you have to be disciplined and being intimate,
Mhm.
or with God or with each other as well, right? So,
Mhm.
because I think the best thing they can relate with is friends,
Yeah.
right? Who were their best friends is because they spend a huge amount of time with that person,
Mhm.
whereas they have just acquaintances. But then at the same time, when you're talking about social media, right? If they're on Facebook and some stranger comments something to them, they take it as a personal attack, even though they don't know who that person is.
Mhm.
Even, so somehow that they see it as an intimate thing because that comment talks about them,
Mhm.
even though they don't know who that person is.
Yeah, yeah,
And just, like for us as parents, we say, well, just shut down that account and no one can attack you anymore.
yeah. Yeah,
But they take it as like a
That's
personal.
right, yeah, because they're impacting their identity,
Yeah.
their worth. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a weird sense of how they understand intimate.
Yeah,
I think the beauty of this day camp is it's 4 days, right? So I'm kind of in the generation in between, like the more older and then the younger. So I kind of could see both sides. And I know most of these kids, they can't live without their phones, right? Once it gets down to 40% on their phone, like, oh, I gotta charge it, So
That's me.
well, I mean, that's how they are. And I think with this 4 days, I think this is perfect because the first 1 or 2 days without their phone, they're like, I feel naked, I can't do anything, like, what do I do? And then the third day, I'm like, okay, I can actually experience God. And I think with your question, do these kids know what intimacy feels like? I think once they start feeling something on the third or fourth day, as the leaders of the group, it's like, that feels awesome, right? Like, this is actually something, because when people, they don't really know what that feels like, and then if no one talks to them about it, they won't know.
Yeah.
So as the group leaders of all the small groups or whatever, you have to really let them know, like, it feels awesome, right? This is how the communication should be with God and with your peers, to play with a red ball, right? That's my whole analogy. Like the kids, like these days, it's hard for them to just play with a red ball. Just give them a ball and like, okay, do something with it, But before, yeah, I mean, I'm in that generation where we could just throw it on the wall, we kick it, we do it, whatever, But kids these days, it's like they're in the same room, but they're talking to each other on their phones, right? There's no talking at all. So, but I think, the third and fourth day, you guys gotta really stress and really emphasize, like, this is the intimacy that we wanted you to feel and to have that strong communication with God too. So.
Hey, Polly, I don't know if this would work for you guys, but someone else came up with this idea at our church. And so we, at the beginning of service, we don't do it every Sunday because I forget. And then, but at the beginning of each service, we actually pass around a basket, and it's kind of like an offering to God, and so people leave their phones in there. So it's more of like a ceremonial way of saying, I am going to say, it's basically saying I'm going to be open to what God is going to do. And to kind of express that, I'm going to sacrifice this one thing that it makes it so easy for me to have that interaction with God. And so I don't know if you want to, that's something to an idea to play around with, but something you guys could do Friday night.
Like a ceremony.
Yeah.
But on a good Sunday, okay? On a good Sunday, when that's good, it's impactful because you see this person that's normally on their phone, and now they're not saying, I'm going to dedicate my life to God now, right? But it's more like the expression that they're all going to, at different levels. One is going to take it seriously, so they do it, so they see that, like, wow, that's impactful. Another level is just the pressure. The pressure that everyone else is doing it. You don't want to be the awkward one still on your phone, because it makes it much more powerful if it's like their choice and an expectation, and basically putting that expectation in God that I'm going to give you symbolically this, so I can hear you speak to me, kind of thing. So I don't know if that's something you want to play around with.
Yeah, that's like
But if some people have, some of my youth, they have the Bible on their phone. And so at our church, we would shut off, I think, part of the Wi-Fi so they can't access the web.
Oh, really?
But because they have the Bible on their phone, it's kind of hard for them to turn in their phone when they
right.
read, But you're right, it's a good way if they could just turn in their phone before the service.
That was actually my argument, because I'm the preacher that uses my iPad.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
My joke with that is, like, before people were reading, who really had a Bible and would read on their own, right?
But they can text on the iPad too. They
Yeah,
can text
yeah,
and
yeah.
they can do all that.
Well, right. But see, to me, the issue is more like the are you honoring God with what you have, right? And so yeah, that's my joke of people who are like, Bible should be read only through the paper. But then there's probably a time when people are like, you would read the Bible, you not listen to it, you know? There was a generation of that, right?
Yeah.
Or what? There's an NIV, not King James, and so it just that continues. But yes, I think so. What we remedy for that issue is like, oh no, I have my Bible, and I will do this for this camp. I'll sacrifice myself. I won't use my iPad. I'll print my notes, and I'll go look for my paper Bible somewhere. You know, but so we also provide hard copy Bibles for that.
Yeah.
So that's an option. Yes.
And as well, my solution to that, that's in my Sunday school class, is, and she's on her phone.
Yeah, my husband's out there.
Yeah.
That's why my parents have to come to my house, pick up my kids, and take them to basketball game. I mean, I'm organizing all of this.
So on her phone,
I'm really bad. And I'm really big example.
Honor this intimate moment. My solution to that was, yes, we have a stack of Bibles there, but I also want the kids, and I'm not some prude, I have a Bible on my phone as well.
Yeah.
But I also like paper Bibles.
You don't have the ESV, the big old giant ones.
Not the ESV study, I can't afford that. But I want the kids to get used to having a Bible of their own, where it's theirs.
Yeah.
They can feel it. It's not just
Smell.
It's not just reading the words. It's knowing your Bible where it's almost you know where the words are in relation to the page.
Yeah.
You know where the books are because you're actively flipping to that book. And my solution to my Bible's on my phone, no, it's not, because I bought you a Bible.
Yeah.
I bought each and every kid 1 or 2 Bibles because I want everyone to have 2 versions of their own, of their choice. And so because I've shown up, I've sacrificed to give you your own paper Bibles. I expect you to bring that paper Bible by default every Sunday. So you have no excuse.
I expect you to memorize it too, and it better be worn out by next week. I'm a romantic, so I don't know if this is another idea that you don't have to do. But again, like, what if you each wrote a note in their Bible and say, I brought this Bible to this retreat just for you, and then dear Tung, and blah blah blah, whatever, and my hope is this Bible will go with you everywhere, whatever. Say something dramatic, right? But this is the romantic side of me, like maybe the kid's like, oh wow, you actually hand wrote something in here for me. But then that will cost money because the paper Bible is more expensive.
So let's not forget, being is unplugged, but unplugged is intimacy.
Well, unplugged, but to be plugged into.
Outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want them to carry that unplugged, not knowing. But I really like the definition that Pastor David talked about intimacy.
Yeah.
So it's not like just think about sex, but it's more like place where they can feel safe and not being judged and being accepted. And I think that's really good definition to teach the kids to understand.
Why don't we just call it better than sex? God is better than sex. Intimacy. Yeah.
I think there's a difference in the definition for men. When they think of intimacy, they think of sex could be, but for women, it's more like talking and spending time together.
No way.
Yes,
Holly doesn't know yet.
More talking. More
More
physical.
Yeah, so like,
Why do you need to talk?
We'll talk about intimacy and barriers to intimacy. I just thought I brought something else. And I'm not sure what your experiences are with your youth in high school. But evidently in my class, the kids in high school get an average of 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night. Is that normal? Something less. Yeah. Is that your experience?
That's the new normal.
That's outrageous.
That's my normal, but I have an infant, that's why.
That's outrageous. The lack of sleep is a barrier to many things, let alone intimacy.
But here's a object to be fair.
Yes.
Did you sleep more than 5 hours when you were in high
Yes.
school? Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Really? No.
I had no friends. So.
I was on the phone. Like, I would talk on the phone like this if I'm so tired.
I think it's for them. I mean, my kids, no matter what happens, 10 o'clock you're in bed, I would tell them. I mean, they try to stretch it out.
Yeah.
But as parents now, I think they're more permissive, that they don't set boundaries for their kids, and that's another problem. That the kids can go to bed like at 12. You know, I don't know how much homework they have. I'm sure they have a lot, but you need to get it done by 10, in bed by 10.
Yeah, yeah. So the issues with boundaries.
I think boundaries, and I think also this is right on the coattail of performance as well. Stay up an extra 2 hours, get that homework done, is what I think a sacrifice that many parents are allowing their kids to do. You stay up late if you're finishing off that project.
So would you say, and this is my last question probably, because I would say in our church, in the Chinese American culture, the performance is more like the A's, right? So it's like it doesn't matter if you're a mature person or not, you know, as long as you get straight A's, right? And that's the kind of the caveat of it. Is that the same pressure in the Vietnamese church? Because I grew up totally different. My parents were like, we barely got out of Vietnam alive. So all we care is you don't do drugs, you don't party, you don't go to those new wave parties, and don't follow communism, you know? And I was like, you know, and then just be good, right? And clean your brew, you know? And so I don't know how it was with your parents, but yeah, like is it now that it's a newer generation of parents, right? More educated, or have been here longer at least, and more access to things, right? So would you say your teens have that same pressure that I'm talking about, the ones that they have at my church?
I think that in our church is changed. I think predominantly more parents are leaning toward the okay for them to not get good grades.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Why
I mean,
why is that, do you
because
think?
they feel like their kids is under so much pressure from everything else. Like there's so much homework. Most of the parents have their kids in private school, so already a lot of homework. We do still have a few parents, you know, that's very strict in terms of you must. But for the most part, you know, they just want their kids to kind of enjoy life and, you know, through their childhood. And I think for us, we're more leaning toward that too. I mean, we're serious with grades in terms of we know their ability, we know that you do your best, and that's what we're asking. But we're not like pushing and hovering over them, and I mean, between me and him, I'm more of that because, you know, with my background and you know, I'm a little more on the strict side, but yet I don't think I'm at the point where strangle them or whatever, or like, you know, like giving them such hard time if they don't get good grades. And I think has to do with leadership because we're like that and we're leaders in the church. So then I feel like parents are, because we telling them that they have so many years to live as a child, you know, let them be a child and not putting them so much pressure. Because after this, they're going to be working for the rest of their life. Do give them boundaries, do this and that. But I think for our church, that culture is changing.
So I'm curious for the younger ones, you know, like, do you feel that pressure and that tension with like academic or work achievements at home?
I guess because like growing up, especially when my dad's pastor, it's a lot having Vietnamese culture and as a raising like a Christian Jew, it's a lot. I feel like when I was growing up, I have an older sister, but I see that my parents put so much pressure, like especially the Vietnamese culture, on her, and I guess
To be the good kid.
Yeah, to be the good kid, you know.
Good older sister.
And when I was a kid, I remember getting like, you know, if I do just like just drop a glass and break it, then there goes, you know, like your like
Gut.
yeah, not grounded, but like what do you call it? Being
It's just like a severe reaction.
no, like you get, you know, like you face against the wall or like
Punished.
yeah, timeout or
When it wasn't your fault.
or like,
Or
you know,
what-
just
what-
the simplest things, you know, and I feel like as growing up, having that pressure, and then, it makes I feel like it makes the kids more rebellious as they grow up. So, but I guess now that when I got to high school and then going to college, I feel like my parents got more easier. So it's more, I feel like it's more, as long as instead of, like parents not back in the day, like they give spanking or those kind of things, it's just more, the parents, I feel like they should have, like, they would, because, their way of like, oh, I spank you or I hit you because I love you, you know? But like, I guess I understand why, like, I feel like they should talk to their kids more and like getting their kids on the same level of why they shouldn't do that instead of actually punishing them.
Yeah. So, instead of feeling like walking on eggshells.
Yeah. But since getting through that, I feel like now that I'm in college, like I feel like I'm more close to my dad because I understand, why he does that for me, and it's like to be more mature, that I can actually like get closer to him to explain. Okay, now I have these situations. What should I do?
Right. Well, for the sake of time, any other questions for me that you may have?